Jury. Thank you. Hi, my name is Peter Zhang. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Pulzze Systems. Today, I want to share with you about where IoT is heading and some of the challenges that it's facing and how we are working with the US government and leading global IT companies to solve these problems. Well, it is estimated by 2020, you will have 20.8 billion devices. And staggering $3 trillion will be spent on purchasing these devices. And what's more astonishing is the potential economic impact is up to $11 billion. Well then, what is the challenge? Now, what's stopping us from getting there today? Well, that is because it is still very, very expensive, very difficult to build IoT solution. To build an IoT solution today, you either have to build a custom application or use a middleware or use a platform such as IBM WebSphere or Jasper that's been recently sold to Cisco for $1.4 billion. And that's only if you have few hundred thousand dollars to spend on that project. There's no single solution out there today that you can easily create an IoT solution. And with Pulzze Interactor, we are trying to solve that problem. Interactor is a vendor-agnostic way of simply connecting and configuring to get any IoT solution to work with each other, regardless of protocol, any standard, or any data type. And with only 30 megabytes of footprint, it can be used on the IoT device itself, or on the network, or even on the cloud. Now, we released our beta only a few months ago, and already we are working with over 40 global companies. And what is the value that they see in Pulzze Interactor? Well, let's take Cisco Smart City project in Songdo as an example. Multiple street lights, street cameras, and even panic button, all having to work as one. Well, they thought it would take about 5 engineers, 6 to 8 weeks to build. We went in there, 1 engineer, 15 minutes, and we were able to do that. And US government, Department of Homeland Security, they wanted to detect every device on the network under multiple protocols. We detected all 120 devices, of which 50 were unaccounted for. Now, while most startups have to worry about traction, the amount of traction that we've been experiencing has been phenomenal. And how are we able to do that? That's because our team has been working on communication devices, communication technology, for a very, very long time. And our founders were part of the team that actually built the largest router that's ever made. Our business model is very, very simple. We make money by enabling your device to bring true value by connecting and interacting with other devices, and your cloud to work with other clouds, all without having to hire any additional developers. Now, IoT is big, and IoT is real. And we want to play our part in making your IoT investment come true. And that's Pulzze Interactor. Thank you.
Can you discuss a little bit the competitive landscape? Who do you compete with, and what's your edge?
Yeah, so the competitors, as I mentioned on the presentation, are companies like IBM WebSphere or Jasper, and there's a company who's very close to where we are in Silicon Valley called MuleSoft. And Dell and Intel is also creating a similar solution. So those are the type of companies that we are competing with, so Dell, Boomi. And our competitive edge is they depend on what's called connectors. So what connectors are, if you want to work with those lights, they actually have to build a connector to work with those lights. Our competitive edge is because we come from more the network communication technology, we've built a technology much like how router deals with it. Router doesn't need connectors to get your computer to work with each other. That's why we are able to build a technology that's way, way lower cost than most of the competitors. And then we are able to get any devices working without having to build those connectors. So that's our competitive edge.
So if that's your competitive edge today, why couldn't those other very large companies with lots of resources follow a very similar model?
Good question, because our team has been in Cisco building those products, IBM, GE building those products. And these big companies are trying to build it, but they have structure and many difficulties of having to build these products. And it's not that they haven't tried. So when our founders were actually in Cisco, they were part of the team that were actually building the IoT solutions together. But in order for Cisco to build the technology that we built in a year and a half, it will take them about 5 years with much bigger team. So it's something that only an startup can actually challenge and be able to establish. It's one of the Silicon Valley technology startup can challenge and get it done.
Can you tell us a little bit about your financials? So funding and where the traction you are having.
So that's actually the story is very interesting because while our founders were in Cisco and working on these projects, the ecosystem in Silicon Valley is when you have these skills, you get to actually know a lot of the VCs. So the VC actually invested in the founders even before they came out. They said, after hearing their vision, they said, why don't you come out and do it? So few months before they came out, they actually funded them. And after we came out, it took us about an year to build the technology. And once we have built the private beta, we got noticed by National Science Foundation of United States government, which are the agencies that actually invested on the innovation of the internet, the routers. So they found out about us and they started investing in us. And Department of Homeland Security started investing in us. And we started, after we released our beta, we started having Cisco as a customer, and we started having numerous other customers coming in even before we released our product. So actually in last quarter, we actually were positive in cash flow because of the incomes coming in.